Hey guys, welcome back to my info content. Today, we'll be talking about rookie quarterbacks. And yes, we are talking about quarterbacks that were drafted in the draft. We are talking about quarterbacks that went undrafted up to this point, which is, let me check. I didn't check what day it is. It is June 24th, 2020. So, let's go on and get started. So I ranked them all, and as you probably can tell, a lot of the people back here are just going to be undrafted. I have their name because I figured if you've been watching me for a while, you might notice that the picture looks smaller. That's because I'm putting the whole name and I'm putting the team. I have written down what round, like what pick they were, or if they're undrafted, I will let you know. So, but also surprisingly, there were quite a few undrafted quarterbacks that were better than a lot of the drafted quarterbacks. I mean, you might even be surprised by a lot of them. So, yeah, stick around. And by the way, this is not like how good of a pick they were. This is not like how they fit their team. This is just looking at stats and how good they are just stacked on top of each other. All right, and in 25th, we have Riley Neal, who was, if I can find him, he was undrafted and he was picked up by the Broncos. He's just like nothing special. Only 117 quarterback rating. Sorry. That might be the worst out of anybody that I see. He's only got 9 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Of course, we're just looking at his last year in college. So, I mean, obviously, they have to have something behind Drew Lock, but I don't know if they could have gotten someone better. I feel like Riley Neal was pretty bad. And there's probably someone worse, too. And in 23rd, we have Tommy Stevens, who was, I'm trying to find him, Tommy Stevens, who was actually drafted by the Saints. He was a 26th pick in the 7th round, so, I mean, not that good, but still, it's pretty crazy. He was drafted, and there's like, I think it's like half and half. I think there's not as many undrafted quarterbacks, but still, he was the worst picked up by, and they don't really need him. I think they just I don't even know why they drafted him. They have Jameis Winston to back up Drew Brees, and then they've got Taysom Hill behind him. I guess they got Tommy Stevens kind of as a third-string option because I guess Taysom Hill is also, I guess they use him as a lot of other things. He plays a lot of positions. So, I mean, I guess it's better to be safe, which I guess is why they picked him. He only had 11 touchdowns in his last season, only just over 1,000 yards. I mean, really, I don't think they expect him to play single down with them. Unless things go completely wrong, unless things go terrible, then really he shouldn't touch the football field except for the preseason. And then we have Khalil Tate, who was, he was signed, he was actually undrafted by the Eagles. He had 131 quarterback rating. Now they have Nate Sudfeld right now backing up Carson Wentz. But I mean, I guess it's better for them to get someone, rookie who they can, kind of get better. I don't know. Because I mean, if Nate Sudfeld, who again I think he was like one of the worst backup quarterbacks on the backup quarterback video, go check that out if you want to. So I guess it's good that they have someone to back up. This is another one. They don't really expect him probably to touch the football field really at all. Let's go 22nd. So far, we've only got one quarterback who was drafted. And he was drafted really to kind of be a fourth stringer. And then in 22nd, we have James Morgan of the Jets. It makes sense that they would pick someone who isn't that good. The thing was, they drafted him in the 4th round. He was the 19th pick of the 4th round. So, I mean, if they're going to stick to Dalton, why would they be drafting someone early in the 4th round? I mean, at least, it was better than some of these guys, so I guess you could say that maybe he would have been picked up, but I don't know. Also, I don't know who this is. If you're waiting for me to say who that is, like I always do. I don't know who that is. I mean, he's got 14 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions, but he only has 128 quarterback rating. So, I mean, he's got way more touchdowns than he does interceptions, but, I mean, it's still not very good when you look at some people higher up. And also, I do have more slides, so Normally I just have 4, but today I've got 5 because there's only 25, as you can see. And 21st, I mean, and also another thing for the Jets, they've got Joe Flacco to back up Sam Darnold. So I mean, if Sam Darnold doesn't work out, they've got a veteran behind him. I guess they might. I don't know. I don't see him ever starting for the Jets. And in 21st, we have Jordan Love for the Packers. This is the first really early. I mean, he was taken in the first round. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, you're basing this off of the pick. No, I'm not. What I'm saying is he isn't. Looking at his stats, 20 touchdowns and 17 interceptions, 3,400 yards, and only 129 quarterback rating. It's not very good. I mean, 3,400 yards is what's keeping him above the 4 players behind him. 17 interceptions is terrible. 129 quarterback rating is above the people behind him, but not good. And I was going to say 17 interceptions isn't that bad for a college quarterback, I guess. But the fact that he only threw 20 touchdowns and 3,400 yards, I mean, it just doesn't add up. I feel like when only Herbert, Tagovailoa, and Burrow had gone, they could have grabbed someone else, but they picked Jordan Love. So Aaron Rodgers has some work to do. All right, and in 20th, we've got Steven Montez. He went undrafted by the Redskins. 17 touchdowns and only 10 interceptions. So, again, not very good. He's still in the double digits of interceptions, but at least seems to be pretty good. I mean, he's got 2,800 yards and 130 quarterback rating, so it's definite. You can make an argument for him to be lower, but right now 28th is just where I want to rank him. And also, you got to keep in mind, I don't know much about college football. I'm going to try to get into that, but I mean, it's just I'm not into college football. I haven't seen him play. So take all this with a grain of salt. I'm more into NFL stuff. Then we've got Bryce Perkins, who was picked up undrafted by the Rams. We're kind of getting into maybe mediocre. I feel like a lot of the guys behind him, aren't really picked so they can start. They're maybe last minute options, except for Jordan Love. I mean, Bryce Perkins, 22 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. I mean, it's probably. I think it's the most interceptions we've had. We're finally seeing consistent interceptions, but still 12 interceptions. I mean, it's a step up definitely, but it's not good enough to get past 19th. In 18th, we have Nate Stanley, who I think, was actually drafted. He was the last quarterback drafted. He was picked up by, of course, the Vikings in the 30th pick of the 7th round. Almost Mr. Irrelevant, but not quite there yet. 131 quarterback rating, only 16 touchdowns, but I mean, he only has 7 interceptions too, and only 2,900 yards. So, I mean, this is another one. A lot of these guys, you could make arguments for him to be lower. You can make arguments for him to be lower. You can make arguments for this to be all shuffled around, but this is just the way I see it. And I'm trying to make this video short. All my videos are really long, and that's not good. We have Jamar Smith. A lot of people don't know that. I'm trying not to reveal too much. A lot of people don't know that the Patriots got a quarterback. He was undrafted, of course, but a lot of people don't know that. I mean, it's still shocking that they didn't draft one. I mean, they picked a kicker over a quarterback, and I guess it's paying off. But still, I mean, this kind of shows they're gonna tank. But I guess they have to have someone behind Stidham just in case he doesn't work out, or just Stidham gets hurt. Jamar Smith, 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, not very good, but he does have a 145 quarterback rating, which is insane, which is much better. So, I mean, the Patriots did a pretty good job. I mean, we're almost halfway. I mean, if Stidham doesn't work out, I guess this wouldn't be the worst option, obviously, but still, they could have done better. And we have Josh Love, who was also picked up by the Rams, undrafted. So, I mean, they signed 2 rookie quarterbacks undrafted. They didn't draft one. So, I mean, that's pretty weird. So I guess they've got a lot of rookie talent on there. Their quarterback roster. I mean, Josh Love, 3,900 yards. That's pretty good. 22 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 141 quarterback rating. I know they're only like 3 spots, but the difference between Bryce Perkins and Josh Love is insane. There won't even be a battle to see who's in like third or fourth or second. It's Josh Love is going to be above Bryce Perkins on the roster, on that depth chart. I don't see that being any other way. But still, I mean, you can see we're starting to get away from terrible. I mean, I could see Josh Love being a maybe below average backup. So, good job to the Rams there. And in 15th, we have Cole McDonald. Cole McDonald, who was drafted the 10th pick in the 7th round. A lot of 7th rounders back here by the Titans, obviously. They got rid of Marcus Mariota. They needed to get someone else to fill his spot. And, I mean, they didn't do a terrible... sorry. They didn't do a terrible job. I'm not very good. Sorry about that. He has 147 quarterback rating, 33 touchdowns to 14 interceptions, and 4,100 yards. So we're looking at like mediocre quarterback, like mediocre college quarterback right now. And a lot of these guys are going to be pretty good. Well, I know who this guy is. This is Jake Fromm. I know that because he was in a documentary on Netflix, actually. I'll talk about that more whenever we get to him. And here we are with Jacob Eason, who was drafted in the 16th pick in the 4th round by the Colts. He was drafted before James Morgan, obviously. 23 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, which is pretty good, and 3,100 yards. So this is another one. You could make an argument that he is lower. You could obviously make an argument for him to be higher. This is another one. This guy is probably really was picked. I mean, if Brissett, I don't know. He's probably just going to be a third string, and there might be like a little battle in the preseason to see maybe if he might be better than Brissett. But seeing what Brissett did last year, I doubt that. He's just going to be third string. I doubt that he'll touch the field with the Colts for many years. All right, we've got Tyler Huntley, who was he actually went undrafted. 19 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and 3,000 yards. I know that's not very good, but then you look, he has 177 quarterback rating. That is pretty good. That's like top 5 right there. That could get him onto the last slide, but it's just the fact that, he only threw 3,000 yards. That tells me that's not a very huge sample size. So, I mean, they didn't do the worst job picking someone, I guess, to back up. Oh, no, they got RG3. So this is another guy picked to be third string. A lot of these guys who are undrafted aren't really meant to back up anybody, because if they needed a backup, they would draft them. And in the 12th, we have Kevin Davidson, who was undrafted by the Browns. We're seeing a lot of undrafted quarterbacks in a streak right here. Kevin Davidson, 20 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. That's pretty good. That's okay. And 153 quarterback rating. Now this guy, I could honestly, I'd be interested to see if maybe he could pull something and get the second string job, maybe beat out Case Keenum somehow. That would be interesting to see. Because Case Keenum didn't put up much of a show for the Redskins last year. I would be honestly pretty surprised to see it. But I think it'll be an interesting thing to look at going into the preseason, if they do have it. And in 11th, you can probably tell, we have Jake Fromm, who was drafted the 21st pick in the 5th round by the Bills. And like I was saying, he was on that documentary. That's how I know him, his name. It's been like years since he was on it. It was when he was in high school, but he looked good on it. Of course, I was in high school. He looked like a good quarterback. But looking at these stats, 24 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. That might be the best TD2 that we have seen yet. But he only has 2,800 yards. So that's showing me, that's not the best But I mean, the fact that like when he only threw for 2,800 yards, he also threw 24 touchdowns. That says something about him. 2,800 yards and he only threw 5 interceptions. That's kind of what's holding him down. And I mean, 158 quarterback rating is pretty good. So entering the top 10, here we go. And no, that is not Tagovailoa. Don't get mad at me. So, going at 10th, we have Jalen Hurts, who was drafted by the Eagles in a surprise move. They took him at the 21st pick in the second round. Nobody expected them to draft a quarterback. Well, I guess, looking back up, they also, I'm trying to think. I think they got another quarterback. Let me think. Yeah, look, I'm going to go back to another one. They got Khalil Tate. They also got Jalen Hurts. See, I'm telling you, people, they are prepared for Carson Wentz to play terribly this year. I think Carson Wentz is not in a very good situation this year, not necessarily with the team around him, but in the fact that if he plays badly this year, or if he gets hurt early this year, this could be one of his last years, either in Philly or in the NFL itself, either because he can't play anymore because he's so injured, or because, you know, he had that one good year, but the rest of it's been meh. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts, why he's in 10th. 32 touchdowns, 8 interceptions is amazing. 3,800 yards and 191 quarterback rating. This is another huge step up. We are entering. I mean, these are just people who are gotten either to back up or to start. I'm sure a few of them are still supposed to be third stringers, but very, very good ones at that. And in 9th, we have Jake Luton, who was drafted by the Jaguars in the 10th pick in the 6th round. 28 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. That's pretty amazing right there. 149 quarterback rating, only 2,700 yards. Not too impressive. You could also make an argument with Hurts to be above him. I don't see anyone else being above him, but you could make an argument for him to be 10th. Definitely a top 10 quarterback, though. Rookie quarterback. And in 8th, we have Ben DiNucci, who was drafted as the 17th pick in the 7th round by the Cowboys. This is another one. They are definitely prepared for Dak to. I mean, if they have another 8-8 season, he's out of there. He's lucky that he got signed. 29 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, 3,400 yards, 169 quarterback rating. They definitely picked the right one at that time. I mean, we've already seen Tommy Stevens and Nate Stanley, who were the 2 quarterbacks drafted after him, go. So they picked. They did a good job with what they had. They definitely don't expect Dak to play badly, but they're definitely not underprepared for it. And in 7th, we have Case Kookus, who actually went undrafted by the Giants. This is another one. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets into a battle with Colt McCoy in the preseason to see if maybe he can become second string. I doubt it'll actually happen, but it would be interesting to see. All right, and so, I mean, he had 31 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, which is great. 4,000 yards and 150 quarterback rating. This is another one. You couldn't really, I don't see Ben DiNucci being above him. I don't see even Jalen Hurts being above him. I mean, this guy, this is another big step up. 6th, we have Justin Herbert, who fell all the way down to 6th. They picked him, as you all know, probably, hopefully. They picked him 6th pick in the 1st round of the NFL draft this year. And looking at, 32 touchdowns and 6 interceptions and 156 quarterback rating doesn't look like the stats for a quarterback who just went, that's a 6th pick. He's pretty good. Obviously he's going to sit behind Tyrod Taylor for the first 2 games. I think it would be better for him if he had, I know Tyrod Taylor, he's been around. He's a pretty good quarterback. He'd probably start. No, he is going to be starting. But it'd be better if he could sit behind someone, maybe a little better. Entering the top 5, I honestly thought Justin Herbert was 4th, but he wasn't. In 5th, we've got Anthony Gordon, who was picked undrafted by the Seahawks. And this is kind of teach you, if your team signs someone after the draft, don't be thinking, oh, he's pretty bad. Because, these guys are pretty good. 48 touchdowns to 16 interceptions, 5,500 yards, 157.9 quarterback rating. This is a huge step up. You cannot tell me that Justin Herbert is better than Anthony Gordon. I'm telling, like, the top 5 is a completely different world. Looking at it from the eyes of Anthony Gordon. Seahawks, definitely. This guy, I have a feeling that the moment Russell, like, retires or starts to show his age, Anthony Gordon's going to pop in there. And I think they could do good things with him. And fourth, we have Reed Sinnett, who was picked. He was undrafted by the Buccaneers. Probably to just really, I mean, he could fight with, I think it's Ryan Griffin, Blaine Gabbert, one of the two. He could fight for, third or second position behind Tom Brady. So he's already fourth. Because, I mean, he has 169 quarterback rating, 3,500 yards, 32 touchdowns. If he sits behind Tom Brady, Reed Sinnett, once Tom Brady inevitably retires in like 3, because I'm pretty sure, let's be honest, Tom Brady only went on the Buccaneers to prove everyone wrong, to say like, oh, I didn't get worse with age. He definitely isn't looking to play that much longer. So obviously, Reed Sinnett is probably at some point going to take over for Tom Brady. I think it's really smart though that they waited until until after the draft to pick this guy up, because I mean, he's a good steal. I wouldn't have been surprised to see him go second or third round. Looking at these stats, and you already know who the top 2 are. But in third, we have Brock Ruder, who was undrafted by the 49ers. 56 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. You could actually, I mean, you already know that, it's either, we've got Tua and Burrow down here, but you don't know which order. You could make an argument that he could be in the top 2. 56 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, 199.9 quarterback rating, almost hitting 200. And at 4,500 yards, this guy is a star. I have a feeling Jimmy Garoppolo starts to sway, this is another one he could hop in there. He's definitely a great option. And in second, at this point, you already know who's in first. Once I do this, we have Joe Burrow. You already know who he is. Drafted first overall by the Bengals. 202 quarterback rating, 60 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, and a 5,600 yards. Actually, scratch that. I know I said you could make an argument. This is a whole nother world down here. Brock Ruder, you do not belong in the top 2. I mean, you already know he's an amazing quarterback. Just the fact that he's going to the Bengals, it's going to take him a few years to show it, but he is absolutely amazing. There's a reason he's a starter. There's a reason that he's like a mid-range starter. He's amazing. It would take an amazing quarterback to beat him. And, I mean, I'm still going to act like it's mysterious. Who could have beaten him? Who was it? Oh, what? It was Tagovailoa. Yeah, drafted by the Dolphins. Everyone was saying, tank for Tua, all that crap. Well, I think the Bengals probably should have gone with him. The only reason that he didn't go first overall is because of all his health concerns, which really I'm going to throw those out the window. Unless you're Carson Wentz, I don't pay attention to your injuries. That's not because I'm an Eagles fan. That's because I hate Carson Wentz. I mean, the man had a 206.9 quarterback rating. That's better than Burrow's. He had a 2,800 yards, 33 touchdowns, only because he was injured for a lot. I mean, the guy is amazing. The Dolphins definitely picked their franchise quarterback unless something crazy happens. He gets injured again. He just doesn't. He's a bust, something like that. So, yeah, that's how I have it. I know you probably didn't know half of the guys. You were just waiting for me to get to, Joe Burrow and Tua. You're probably just like, I'm going to go watch this guy's video to make sure that he has Tua above Burrow. Anyways, thank you for watching this. I hope you don't get mad about the fact that Justin Herbert was 6th and that Brock Ruder was 3rd. But if you look at the stats, that's how it is. Ooh! I went less than 1 minute per person. That's never happened before. Let's hope it doesn't.
Won't you take me home?